Tonight we're going to talk about therapists as travel professionals, and we're going to explore a lot of different opportunities. And I'll say it's probably just no pun intended, as there's little icebergs, little bits in this picture, but it's really the tip of the iceberg on what we'll cover because there are so many opportunities out there. I'm going to go through the objectives of what we're covering tonight. And then before we get into the actual meat of the webinar, I am going to introduce the other panelists that are on here. So this is what we hope to accomplish. So our objective is for you guys to understand why therapists are combining their love for travel and therapy. We're going to explore the different motivations, lifestyle goals, and professional benefits that are behind this growing trend. You will learn why the travel industry is a strong fit for therapists. We'll talk about how our clinical skills translate into meaningful travel-based services and opportunities, as well as just talk about the travel industry itself. And then we're going to explore different opportunities as a therapist who loves to travel and how you can incorporate that. So we'll talk about group travel planning, companion services, wellness retreats, successful travel, event hosting, and more. So who am I? If you guys don't know me, my name is Kara Welke. I've been an occupational therapist 25 years. And I started combining my love of travel and therapy, I think it was about 3 years ago. That's awful. I should know exactly the date. But really why I got started is our family is very passionate about travel, as you'll learn as we go through this presentation. And my husband's motto is relationships and experiences. And back in 2015, we decided that instead of a bunch of gifts and material items, that we were going to do a family vacation every year for the holidays. And that has just turned into such a great experience over the course of time with our kids. I joke that I still want to take a family of 5 for the rest of my life, just our family of 5, even when they have significant others. I know that will not happen, but it's just been such a great experience, something we all look forward to. And what my therapy, I started my own mobile outpatient Part B practice back in 2018. And so we provide outpatient therapy in the home, working with older adults. We've also added a clinic. We kind of see all ages now. And I really felt that combining travel and therapy was a great idea for our clients and the people we serve. Really wanted to get into companion travel and successful travel and so forth. My path has taken a little different journey with how I utilize travel, which you'll learn tonight, but there's just so many opportunities out there. And I just could tell that it was going to be kind of a good thing to get into. And we have Sarah probably knows exactly, but we have over 400 therapists over the last, or people underneath us, but a lot of therapists that have started doing this. So, and I'll let Sarah go next, and then Karen is also a therapist, and Judy are both therapists that have started doing this. So, Sarah, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So, hello, everyone. My name is Sarah. I'm probably the only person on the call who isn't a therapist. Surprise. But for me, I actually was kind of always healthcare adjacent in my younger years. Karen might not even know this, but my parents actually worked in healthcare. My mom was the director of nursing for the largest hospital in New Jersey when I was growing up, and my father was the director of a nursing home. So I actually started out in healthcare when I was 18 years old and went to work in hospitals. And I quit healthcare, quite honestly, at 23. I was working in an emergency room. My mother passed away from cancer, and they wanted me back at work 4 days later after her funeral. And I knew at that moment that I couldn't go to an ER and have other people's lives depend on me when I was still grieving. So I actually left healthcare and I went the complete opposite route. I have been in business. I've been in accounting, sales, manager. I've ran large sales teams. And about 5 years ago, I literally fell into the travel industry. I fell down the stairs of my brand new home after I married my husband 11 days later, broke my leg in 3 spots. And I had to go to bed for 6 months because they wouldn't let me weight bear because they put pins in my legs, ropes, screws. Physical therapy did not happen. Like all the things you guys know about, it was a disaster. And I ended up having to find a way to support my family that involved just using my brain and my hands while I laid in bed for 6 months. And travel became the answer for me. And I've been able to now help thousands of people show how travel can also be the answer for them. And where I really excel and kind of have partnered with Kara is in the sense that I help people with whatever their current business is, whatever their current skill set is, whatever their current knowledge is. I want them to combine that with the travel industry to create niche travel businesses that work for them. I don't care what your specialty is, right? We're here tonight talking about OT, but we have had the same conversation with people who are educators or people who run retreats or people who do other things. This is just an opportunity to use the skill sets that you all have to actually help people in the travel space. So I'm here just to, help with that and answer questions and point you in the right direction if anybody is interested in more information when we're done. So nice to meet all of you.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Karen, you want to go next?
Sure, I'd love to. I am Karen Pimentel. I am an occupational therapist and I have been an OT for 27 years. I currently work in acute care and I also teach in an OT assistant program. I started a travel business just because I love to travel and I love to help people. And, being a caregiver and a problem solver and wanting to make people happy and allow them to engage in those leisure occupations and do all the things that they want to do, I was drawn to travel. And it initially started as a side hustle, but this past last semester, we found out that they're closing our OTA program, and so this is going to replace that income as it continues to build, and it's going. It's I'm looking forward to that. I'm really sad about the program closing, but it gives me the opportunity to move on and use my skills in other ways as well. So I do like to book all kinds of travel. I've been working on some honeymoons and family vacations, but I also have done a little bit of accessible travel as well. I have spoken at a Parkinson support group and have helped two different couples plan their trips, bucket list trips that they didn't think that they could take. So using my OT brain, I was able to help them do and enjoy something that they thought was not possible. So that's kind of my lens that I look through, and I love helping people do what they enjoy, and I have had the great opportunity to be able to help others start their travel businesses as well. So that's kind of my perspective and my experience. And so, yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen. Hey, Lindsay, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Lindsay Goodnight. I'm also an OT. I am a virtual school-based OT, given my background here. So I see students that attend a charter school virtually from home. So they're still in school, but just getting to do it from home. And I help support them in slightly different ways than in-person school, but it's been a really awesome learning curve and I've enjoyed it. The travel world did come into my life when I was on maternity leave with I had twin girls in 2023, and early 2024 I started with this. I was on an extended leave. Thankfully, when you have two, they give you a little bit extra time. But I was like, oh, I can't, because I have one older one too who was only 1.5 at the time. So it was or no, sorry. Yeah, he was 1.5 when I started, and I was pregnant with the girls. No, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, they're 2 years apart. So I guess he was 2.5. Anyways, not important. So I had the 2-year-old and the babies, and I was like, I can't imagine working full time and managing daycare drop offs and pickups and the cost of daycare for three. And it was a lot. So I saw a post on Facebook, and it was like, oh, we're looking for people to help us kind of, build this community. And I was like, oh, this is right up my alley. I love travel, and I have not let the kids slow me down for most travel. We haven't done like a big Europe trip or anything yet, but um yeah, it's just like I love it. I really enjoy it, and it's become a way that I can take the like small minutes of my day that I have between my school OT kids that I see, and between drop off and pick up. I get to walk my son to school every day, pick him up every day, get to go to all the school events. My schedule is very flexible, and I can't imagine it not being that way anymore.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing. And then Judy, want to share a little bit? If you're able, I know you were.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
Judy, and I'm an occupational therapist as well. I know I am not the oldest one on the team that Sarah has, but I've been an OT for 45 years and counting. And I was looking for something for years, like, oh, what can I do to, retire and still have income? And I tried so many different things, and nothing really just fit. And it just took a lot of time and a lot of effort and really didn't bring any money in. And then I saw a post that Karen Pimentel had posted on one of the therapy groups, and I contacted her, and that's kind of how it all started. Checked everything out, started working under Karen Pimentel and Sarah, and learning how to be a travel agent. And I think it's just been the best fit for me because I have been able to still use my OT skills, and I've booked trips for people where there was an autistic child, there was someone with Parkinson's, people that were just older and had less mobility. And so I was still able to do something purposeful and functional, and it was fun because I've always loved to travel. And even when our boys were like 4 and 6, we started traveling then. Every year we would always take a big trip. We'd go somewhere across the country, we'd take a cruise, we'd go somewhere. And, so for me, it was like, oh, this is really great. I can travel, I can send people places that I've been and help people. So it's just been a really good fit for me. And I've kind of been trying over the time that I've been doing this, trying to figure out, what's my niche. And lately I've been focusing more on family and going into honeymoons and destination weddings, which is kind of interesting because I'm finding out, like, if you send someone to another country for marriage, there's a whole bunch of different rules. And it's nothing too crazy, but you still got to know what's going on. And, so far I've really enjoyed the experience and meeting everybody. Went to Vegas and met more people there on the team. And I think anybody who likes travel and is looking for a source of income, I think that this is really a great thing. And for me, I'm now working part-time. I'm still working, doing home health, but I also have this, and I'm growing my business, and I'm going to keep working it. With the team we have, it's just been so supportive and motivating, and all these new things that are happening, and I'm learning. And really, I'm just, happy to be here and be part of the team.
Awesome. Thank you, Judy. Thank you for sharing. So hopefully that alone tells you a little bit about, what we're going to talk about, like the why therapists are doing this and why travel industry is such a strong fit. So we'll get started. So we like to get everyone involved a little bit. So in the chat, and some of you guys already mentioned a few of these things, but why do you want to combine therapy and travel? Or why do you think others do it? If you guys could kind of share your perspective on why therapists are doing this, just so we can hear a little bit from you and why you're considering this. Because I do think a lot of us, and I think you can see by everyone talking, we're very passionate about therapy. We love travel, combining it. Has just been a great experience for a lot of us. So what are some reasons that you guys think it's great? Who's going to be the first to share? Melissa, I want to get into accessible travel and help others create experiences for themselves that they didn't think would be possible. Awesome. Especially when we think about, occupational therapy and ADLs, IADLs, and so forth, right? I mean, being able to get out of the home, explore, experience, travel, is huge. Yeah, I love this. Travel brings joy to everyone, really focusing on quality of life. Um, awesome. So all the pictures in this PowerPoint are pictures of our family's travel over the course of years. I'm starting with this picture because this is when we started with our family on our first big family vacation in 2020 or in 2015. So if you have seen my family pictures now, they've changed quite dramatically. But my daughter on the left is actually going to graduate with an OT degree in May. Daughter on the right is going to graduate with her nursing degree in May. And my little guy is not little anymore, and he's going to school to be an electrician. So anyways, let's get started. So we see a lot of people, really getting burned out in traditional healthcare. Anyone here, yes or no, feeling burned out from traditional healthcare? Today was kind of a rough day for therapists in private practice, especially if you bill Medicare, because we got notice that they're holding all Medicare payment from October 1st until the government decides to start back up again. So there's just a lot of stresses. Even when we do have our own private practice and can create the practice like we want, there's things going on. So, as far as burnout from traditional healthcare, what are things that that you guys are seeing or that's causing you to be burned out? I mean, we see productivity still, limited autonomy, lack of creativity in traditional settings, being restricted by what you can do. Just the freedom of being able to start your own private practice gives you to, be able to do a lot of things, but adding that travel piece, allows you to be able to design your own schedules. You can work from wherever you want. I mean, you can work from vacations, right? You can choose who you want to work with. You can align your work with your personal passions. Like you heard, some people want to focus on, helping people with destination weddings. We have people that focus just with travel with families that have kids with autism. We have people that just focus on people with dementia. So, there's so much you can do, and you can escape that burnout from traditional healthcare. Um, Next why is a lot of us love travel and freedom, right? So travel isn't just a hobby, it's a lifestyle goal for many of us. Combining therapy with travel lets us see the world without giving up our professional identity. I got to meet Kane Brown a couple months ago. That's an exciting moment for me. continuing on with the love of freedom and travel. It gives us the ability to work on our own time from anywhere. We don't have rigid time clock, no PTO, more life balances. So this is me and another OT, Deb. We've met in DC the last 3 years, and we both have private practices. And with me being able to combine the travel, this was actually an event we did that I was able to book for us through some of the tools that we have available to us. Being able to work outside the traditional healthcare. How many people want to get involved in wellness and preventative type things versus always seeing people when maybe it's too late, or we have to try to restore, but maybe it would have been better if we could start sooner. So wellness opportunities are out there. This is a wellness spa that we like to go to, but there's people that create events and retreats, and they go to different spas, incorporate a variety of different activities. So again, being able to work outside the traditional system, it allows us to do whatever we want and not have to worry about having to bill insurance and things like that. Another big one is financial freedom and early retirement goals. They say that if we can diversify our income streams and have multiple sources of income, that, we can hopefully retire sooner if we want, or gain that financial freedom. This was one of my favorite travel, and with one of our travel tools is a location I was able to rent using our tools and have a significant discount on it. So again, we do a lot with helping other families travel and so forth. So lots of opportunities out there. Benefits of having multiple streams of income. I actually talked about this with some therapists today, because with the cuts in, or not cuts, well, yes, we've had cuts in Medicare, but with the stopping of the claims, it's really going to hurt some businesses, even if it is just a month, because some people don't have more than a month of revenue built up. But we really talked about the importance of having multiple streams of income to help increase your financial security. So, having multiple streams and adding a business like this allows people to bring in different sources of revenue, less stress, more flexibility, and some are able to build that wealth, even faster. And then remote work opportunities. Not everyone wants a hands-on clinic role forever. We get tired doing the same thing every day. We can work wherever we want when you're doing the travel-based business. And then some therapists are just kind of fed up with the environment. There's quite a few. One of my friends runs the alternative career Facebook groups, Mike Chua. Mike Chua is actually also is in our family of travel therapists that also are involved with the travel side of things. But a lot of therapists want to get out of their current situation, or we've even had therapists lose their jobs for no reason lately. So travel-based opportunities have offered them a way out of those types of situations and into something that, they really can enjoy. So, overall, we have just found that therapists aren't just looking for another job. They're looking for freedom, purpose, and a way to use their skills in a way that truly fits their life. And travel-based work gives them that. We put together a retreat or an event in Boston this August, and we arranged pre and post event activities. This was a Fenway Park tour that we put together. So we'll switch a little gears, and some of these are the same, but I just want to talk a little bit about why the travel industry is such a good fit for therapists. So first of all, there's a growing demand. So the global travel and tourism are projected to reach 15.5 trillion by 2033, which isn't very far away. And it's crazy to me. It's That's a 50% increase since 2019. And it represents 11.6% of the global gross domestic product. And I didn't know what global gross domestic product was, so I had to Google it. But that's the total value of all goods and services produced around the world in a given year. And so I put together a little pie chart just to kind of look at, the travel industry is pretty darn huge, right? And it's just going to continue to keep growing. With healthcare right now, as some of you guys have seen, I mean, healthcare needs to keep growing, but it also has a lot of issues, right? And people are losing their jobs, and home health is expected to have a 6% cut in pay, or reduction in pay starting in January if some things go through. So, looking at some of these other options and looking at the economy and some of these other areas that are expected to grow, also really gives us a reason to kind of shift and combine the two. And then, there's a huge growing market demand for accessible and purpose-driven travel. This picture was interesting. So this is a handicap stall. This is when we were in Boston. My finger is pointing to the height of the toilet in the non-handicap stall. We just found it interesting that the handicap stall was extremely low toilet and lower than the other one. But there's an increasing demand for accessible travel for all ages. I think a lot of times we think of older adults, but all ages. I don't know if you guys, anyone follow anyone on Instagram. There's a lot of great Instagram people with disabilities that have started Instagram travels and showing how they're traveling all over the world, and of all ages. So there's a need for that. Putting together wellness retreats, corporate retreats, caregiver support travel, mission-based travel. There's a need for all of these different things. The aging population, as we know, is growing dramatically. People with chronic conditions, they want to be able to travel and enjoy it. And we're really, with our knowledge and education, we're like the perfect fit, because this is what we do on a daily at our daily work. So we can carry it over into the travel industry. And you guys can have these slides if you want more of the specific details. I'm not going to dig deep into all of this, but basically, this are just some statistics to support how this population of aging, the aging population, people with chronic conditions, the need for accessible travel is just really skyrocketing, and it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger. They say that 70% of travelers with disabilities report encountering accessibility barriers when planning or booking a trip. These were my, I'm only 5'6". These were my feet in a bed in a motel that we stayed at recently. Only 12% of travel businesses currently offer accessibility features or information on their websites or booking platform. More than 25 million Americans with disabilities took 77 million trips over a 2-year period, spending 50 billion annually, yet accessible travel resources remain limited and fragmented. So, when I was looking, 3 years ago when I got into this, I'm like, travel's never going to go away. I mean, we just need that for our overall quality of life, and people love to travel. The aging population is growing. Those of us that are aging want to continue travel as long as possible. I know with my mom and dad, they can't travel alone. They need a companion. So it's growing. It's a great time to get in and build a business, whether you're doing it on the side or a full-grown business. Let's see. This is just more information. So when we were in Washington, D.C. for AOTA Capitol Hill Day, this is outside the Lincoln Memorial. They built this crazy ramp right in front of the Lincoln Memorial. And actually it's just it's going to be going away, but we were talking about, well, why wouldn't they put that on the side or the back or whatever? But yeah, it's this crazy long ramp. But yeah, there's just the statistics could go on and on about why we need to do this. So we have the core skill set in order to assess environments, problem solve, adapt. We also can connect people with each other. We had a client with Parkinson's, and her husband was going to take her to Chicago, and he needed someone to stay with her when he was in meetings. Well, being in our world, we have a connection with a lot of different therapists that have their own private practices and so forth. And we were able to connect with another practice who then had connections for caregiving services. Because we were looking at sending a caregiver with, but instead we were able just to connect with someone there. And it was more feasible and affordable for that family member to be able to do that. So we have connections all over, and we can problem solve a variety of different ways to solve the needs. Therapists bring trust and credibility. They say that people are more likely to book when they know a licensed professional is involved, and we can bridge that healthcare and travel, which can be really scary. I have a couple I've been trying to get to travel for many years, but he had a severe stroke, and they're really fearful about doing it. But when we can set them up with other healthcare providers when they get to that other destination and resources, it really makes them feel better about it. And then, of course, diversified income opportunities. We talked about this already, but it just opens a wide variety of revenue streams. So yeah, a lot of people focus in one area or the other, but you could do a couple of different areas. Maybe you're focusing on accessible travel, but you also love to host events, things like that. So it really can be a scalable business model as well. And then our values align with travel experiences. So travel can promote independence, quality of life, mental health. We have seen what social isolation has done to many people over the last several years, especially since COVID, and how it impacts their lives, and how, travel, getting out, that socialization really helps improve everyone's overall quality of life, mental and physical health. It may seem, sometimes I think on social media, we see a lot of people doing travel, but we're all kind of in the same area. There really is, this is still a huge untapped niche area. That's a huge opportunity. There's few therapists currently in this space. Google companion travel services, Google accessible travel services, look for different people that are out there. There's way more of a need than what there is for help. And even the current help out there doesn't necessarily have the skills that a lot of therapists can bring into this. So yeah, the travel industry basically gives us a way to combine our skills and our heart for helping people, our love for freedom, while creating a sustainable income outside of traditional healthcare. So now we'll kind of talk about some of the different opportunities. One of the first ones we'll talk about is travel companion services for older adults. Is anyone in here? I don't think I saw this, that there was anyone that specifically mentioned they want to do this, but travel companion services is huge. And I put older adults here, but really this can be all ages. Traveling's hard. I just completed the Parkinson's Wellness Recovery recertification on Monday, and we were talking about freezing gait, and we were talking about how, like, in an airport, how difficult it is for someone with Parkinson's who has freezing gait, to get around to get around with the crowds, and then to get on the escalator, to get off, to get on the walking paths, and to make those quick movements and the crowded areas and so forth. That's just one little population that needs help. My mom is 77, in good physical condition, but she'll just break down and sweat with anxiety because she gets so nervous doing it. So there's lots of people that need this. And I'll give you an example. One of our therapists that has her own private practice and also does travel. I believe this was before she started doing the travel piece. She had a client that got a quote. So she was in Charlotte, I believe. And this client wanted to go to Denver and back. And he got a quote from a company for the companion services. It was $15,000 to fly with him from Charlotte to Denver and stay there for a few days and back. I'm like, gosh, I'll do that for like a fourth of that. So the need for those types of services is huge. So we have one person that would be interested in that. I think it's a great component to add on to even like a private practice like ours. These are all of the different things that people need help with, assist with travel arrangements, accompanying during the trip, helping them figure out access to adaptive equipment and resources, coordination of medical care. I was just at a hotel last week, and the hot tub was supposed to have a lift to get in and out of the hot tub, and they have the sign there and everything, but there was no lift anywhere around, So, really making sure that everything is set up. And then when you go with them, you're there to help problem solve, instead of setting it up and sending them on their way. Why therapists? I mean, again, I think we'd be excellent companion travelers to go with people because we know mobility limitations. With people with Parkinson's, we know how to cue them, how to get them out of that freezing, how to anticipate different situations and how we can minimize it, So plus we're familiar with healthcare systems. So when they get in a certain area, if something does go wrong, we know what to do. Yeah, just lots of different reasons. And like on the bottom, I say, if we don't do it, someone else is doing it. I mean, there's nurses doing it, there's educators doing it, there's people with no experiences providing companion service. So it's just such a great opportunity for therapists with the expertise to be able to provide this service. The cost of travel companion services really varies. Like I said, that one was $15,000, which seemed for what they were doing, very expensive, but lots of things come into it. And some charge hourly rates, some charge a lump sum. I did have a list of companies that did this, but as you can see, we already have a lot of words on the screen, so I removed that. But you can just kind of Google companion travel services and see some of these different companies out there and what they do. And then, of course, accessible travel is huge, right? Dottie shared, I've been doing this informally for a spouse that became differently able 20 years ago. We are going on our first European trip. Oh, that's awesome that you've been able to help do that and that you're going to Europe. Accessible travel and companion, kind of tied together, right? But accessible travel in of itself is, really catering to people with disabilities or mobility limitations and providing them with tailored travel experiences and making sure where they're going is accessible, is the shower in a motel. I mean, this height, my husband is 6'6", so, but that was still pretty low shower. And PT, OT professionals, I feel are really well suited to running accessible travel businesses with our expertise. We understand the physical and cognitive barriers. We're able to assess the physical needs, the environment, just everything that goes around with it. There's also group travel planning. So we did a family group trip. And again, I was able to utilize the tools to be able to do some different bookings for our group travel. But think of all the different groups, there's families, there's tons of different opportunities out there, taking a caregiver group, different places. We had someone in the group plan a cruise for caregivers. Yeah, there's just lots of different options out there. So And yeah, there's more and more businesses that are specializing in different types of group vacations. So one opportunity. There's events. So that's one thing that I have really liked doing is planning events at different destinations. I always people always ask why we have our events where we have, and it's like, well, it's because it's where I want to go and travel and see, and there's fun things to do. So the top event was a one we had in Philly. The red and Christy and her costume was one we did in Boston. And the one we did in Boston was fun because I could utilize our tools. But then I also, Christy's local to the area and she was our tour guide. So that was fun. And, this was an event we did in New York. But when we, as therapists, are planning the events, we think about the environment. I can tell you that I didn't always do a good job at making sure that the hotels and so forth were completely accessible. We had an OT actually. She has her own private practice and she focuses on home modifications and so forth. And doesn't do travel, but just a side note, she worked with AOTA at Philly conference to work on the accessibility side of things. But just think about, planning events, it can be just for fun as well. All these different types of events that we could host. One of my partners that I work with in our next level business, he really wants to do a cruise event. And these are all different ways that we can contribute to events. We can do, this was in Philly. Any type of event we do, I try to do different activities and engagements and so forth. Speakeasies have been kind of a big thing of ours where we go to in different areas, but so really we only covered, companion, accessible travel, group travel, events, but really you imagine it, there's probably a need for it. Mission trips is another big one. Some people have talked about doing pre-trip planning services. So for instance, say you have someone that has anxiety about travel and you work with them prior to the trip to work on, them feeling comfortable going to the airport, walking through the airport, doing different things. And obviously there's limitations of what you can and cannot do. But, there's a lot of value that can be done in pre-trip planning to get people set up and ready. Some people just focus on certain populations. There's therapists that, really specialize in Disney travel for families that have kids with autism. Plus, you don't have to do any of that kind of stuff if you don't want. You can just focus on basic travel planning. So lots of different options and ideas out there. So now we'll just talk a little bit about the next steps. And just out of curiosity, on a scale, before Sarah kind of goes through next steps, on a scale of 0, this sounds awful and why would I ever want to do it? And I'm not really interested, to 10, sounds amazing. I would love to add it in as an additional business or side gig. Where do you guys rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10, just so we can kind of gauge where you guys are at? Kathleen's a 10. 10. What's a 10? Lots of 10s. Awesome. 8, 9. And it's fine whatever level you're at. You can be a 2 or 3. We're pretty no pressure here. Again, we're passionate about helping other therapists get into a space that's really fun and rewarding and be able to offer an additional source of revenue, right? Fun. Some people do it just for fun money. Some do it for their full-time business. So Sarah, you want to talk a little bit about like the next steps?
Sure. So definitely, big next step, whoever invited you to this, get back with them. tell them, what you're thinking. If you're interested, if you have questions, they will be able to help you move forward and, get more details. I'm going to cover some of them now, but obviously you need all the information. So just grab that person who invited you and they will help you with the next steps. But you're probably wondering, a little bit more of how does this work and what are some details. So have the ability to become an actual travel agent, right? So when we say work in the travel industry, you really are becoming a travel agent. How that works is you partner with a host travel agency who does nothing but work with travel agents. Like that is what it is. Most people, right, are familiar with having a job, the 9 to 5, everything that people have done for years, or opening up their own business, right? There's several people here who, you own your own businesses already, your own private practices. Where we fall is honestly kind of right in the middle. This is a 1099 position with that host agency. So you don't have to report to work on a schedule. You don't have required hours. There's no quotas. You don't have to do anything. You might book one trip a year. You might book one trip a week. This is up to you. What do you want it to be? Like Kara said, is it a side hustle? Is it going to become a business? Is it, something that you use to stay home with your kids like Lindsay does, right? It's as much or as little as you choose for this to be. And once you're a travel agent, you can book whatever types of trips you want and specialize however you want. So then you get to start diving into everything Kara shared tonight of how do you want to work that travel agent business? Who do you want to focus on? What do you want to market? Who do you want to reach out to? You have complete autonomy over that. So it's kind of the best of both worlds because as a 1099, you actually get training from the host agency, you get support, you have, customer service to go to if you have issues, you get a full training program for you step by step of what you need to do to actually be a travel agent. So you don't have to figure it out on your own like you do when you have your own traditional business. But you also get the autonomy of not being tied to an actual job where you're required to do anything. So it's kind of that middle ground, best of both worlds that people really like. So for us, we really look at it as it's a way for you to choose how you want to make your money and who you want to help. Instead of working with patients, you now work with clients and you choose who those clients are and how you want to serve them and what works for you. And as a travel agent, we actually had someone I work with, she actually is a therapist and she partnered with 2 other travel agents and they did a group cruise. Now, it wasn't specialized in any type of healthcare. It was literally a group cruise of over 700 people. It was the largest group cruise that cruise line had the entire year. And those travel agents went on that cruise with those people. So she was, using her skills without actually like purposefully trying to use her skills. She was just creating a group experience. She was there to help. She was there to answer questions, solve problems. And she got to make a lot of money doing it. And that was what she did for the year. And she's doing another one next year. She's just doing one huge group cruise a year. And that's how she's chosen to use this platform. So it really is about what you want it to be and however you want to make it. So I hope that helps. Costs are very minimal, especially compared to starting your own practice. We're talking hundreds just for reference. So compared to what you guys do spend to open your own business, it's an affordable way to do it and still have the support of a company without the rules of being, a full-time employee that you have to do what they say. It's that great middle.
Yeah, and for those of you that are, that are interested and want more information, we're gonna spell it all out for you and make sure you know and understand and answer any of your questions as well. But we like to, touch base with you individually because everyone has individual questions and so forth. So, yeah, so definitely, I think Sarah has really, again, her support, it's nice that we have a team to help answer questions and help support each other along the way as well. So it's pretty cool to see the different therapists. Particular questions that you have that we can cover here? Or Sarah, what do you recommend? I know the best step is, we can reach out. You guys all have, I think everyone should have my information. My email is kara@nextlevelot.com, or you can message me on Facebook. But if, I know Karen invited people, Judy and Lindsay and everyone all invited people. So, reach out to those of who those that or you can talk with Sarah and I as well. So we're just here to help support and inspire therapists to really take advantage. And there's so many different levels. There's not many businesses that you can get into that is this affordable, that also offers you so many other rewards, not just financial rewards as well. It's just, I think the fun of it is a reward. So any particular questions or anything, Sarah, Karen, Judy, Lindsay, anyone else wants to add?
Oh, I know in the beginning we talked about how many, therapists or healthcare workers have done this. I think when I looked, we were up to about 900, and that was therapists, nurses, CODAs, PTs, PTAs. Like, we're talking all different walks of healthcare have jumped into this because of what they can do with their skills. And, you can actually get continuing ed hours by taking courses. You can actually become a certified autism travel professional and get continuing ed hours for that. So this is, something that actually is legitimate with your skill set that you have. Is the
Awesome. Sarah, do you
income-
want to check out some of the questions?
Sure. Can you talk more about the kind of training and assistance in the setup? Yes, the host travel agency is going to put you through an entire training program because that's what it takes to become a legal travel agent. So you actually are going to work directly with the host travel agency, go through their entire training program, and then you can choose to do whatever you want. They will actually show you all sorts of different resources that you can get different education in or specialty education in if you really do want to specialize in something or niche in something, like that autism certification I just said. You can choose what additional education you want, but the company is going to walk you through all the legal training for that 10 hours is the bare minimum base. And once you do that, you can book travel. But what I actually kind of bring to the table and my partnership in this with Kara is that I was named the best travel business coach of 2024 because I've developed a system that actually, I love Kara, thanks, that like is going to walk you through day by day exactly what we suggest you do to have a successful business. And the goal of that 28-day course is to have you booking travel by the end of it in your first month. So that way, this is something that can make you money quickly, not a business where you have to be in it 2, 3, 4, 5 years before you're making an income. We actually want you making money immediately on this. I may have missed this. What are the contacts for the travel agent training? How long is the training? Okay, so I think that kind of just addressed that as well. Is the income hourly rate similar to an OT rate? I would honestly say it depends on what you're booking, quite frankly, because if I book a hotel room for someone, I might make $20, right? One hotel room, one night, I'm not going to be making a lot of money. But when I book a Viking cruise for someone where that costs $20,000 to go on that cruise and my commission is now 4 figures, well, how long did that take me? Sometimes it took me an hour. So now I just made 4 figures in 1 hour. It is 100% dependent on what you're booking, how much research is going to go into that particular trip, what the commission rate is on that particular trip. So it does vary. I want to be perfectly honest with you. Is there a specific certification needed? So great question. There is not a specific certification needed. You can choose to get certifications in anything you want, all sorts of different topics, but the only required training is the 10-hour company training with the host agency, because that's what makes you an actual travel agent. And then from there, they're going to show you all the different certifications and additional things you can get so you can choose what to specialize in. And like, I mean, even some of the ladies said they might know about accessibility needs, but they're choosing to book honeymoons and, destination weddings and, family trips and cruises. You really choose what you want this to be. It's completely your choice on that. Okay, awesome. I hope that helped some. And then we're going to get you guys the details. Anybody who's interested in more information, we want you to reach out to that person who invited you so that way they can share everything. We want to talk through pricing with you. There's options on how it works. There's options on how you choose to set up your business. So we want to get into one-on-one conversations and really answer everything and also give you information. You can watch more. So we want to really deal with you guys one-on-one and help you figure out what might or might not work for you. So it's completely your choice on how you want to build this business. We just want to help you see if it's a good decision for you, honestly.
Yeah, so we'll send out additional info, but connect with your person, and then Sarah will go into more detail on that. And we even have additional videos and a Facebook group that you can be in to get more questions and network and connect with us as well. So, really tonight, we just really hopefully inspired some people to think beyond traditional therapy and think about how you can combine your love of travel and your love of therapy to really, do a multiple of different things for a variety of reasons, whether it's additional income or whether it's, just doing something you love and having that added benefit of travel. So